The comedy genre is dying in Hollywood. Well, it definitely goes through an existential crisis, but some people claim comedy just blends into other genres, like superhero movies, where jokes are compensating for the absurdity of what's happening on screen. The Hollywood career of comedic actor Rob Schneider wasn't solely destroyed by the decline of the comedy genre, most likely by his love of spicy and controversial humor. Audiences loved it, but every critic dreamed of publicly whipping the actor on the central square every Sunday for his roles. So, what set Rob off the path of a rising comedy star? And how did he become synonymous with bad taste movies? And most importantly, why is Rob Schneider really a stapler and how it affected his Hollywood career? You're watching Hollywood Lore, and let's dive in. Rob Schneider was an awkward and shy teenager. At the age of 13, he saw Steve Martin perform in San Francisco, got overexcited, and decided, well, if he can do it, why can't I? Comedy was a nice way to overcome shyness and put awkwardness to good use, so Rob dived into it. In 1988, Schneider got a position as a writer for Saturday Night Live. Rob moved to Los Angeles and began working together with David Spade, Chris Rock, Chris Farley, and most importantly, Adam Sandler. Rob quickly became a cast member, playing some really quirky characters, like the sensitive naked man and orgasm guy. Adam Sandler loved it all and immediately struck up a bromance with Rob. Despite Rob's passion to portray eccentric dudes, he needed something more classic to step into the spotlight in Hollywood. So, in 1992, Rob started to land small but memorable roles in comedy projects like Home Alone 2 or Surf Ninjas, where he played a local redhead. The film flopped despite the cast's efforts, like they were filming this one in Thailand with 46 degrees Celsius on set. This heat almost killed poor Leslie Nielsen, who needed to wear a samurai costume. In Demolition Man, starring Sylvester Stallone, Rob's role was tiny, but he managed to participate in a memorable gag scene there. Remember the mysterious 3 seashells used instead of toilet paper? Yes, exactly. The debates about proper usage of seashells are still active. Please do not share your opinions in the comments. Despite such an iconic joke, Rob wasn't even credited in the titles, but he managed to make Sly laugh a few times on set, which had an instant and significant effect. The script for the movie adaptation of cult comic series Judge Dredd was rewritten multiple times before shooting, and even more during the whole filming process. We have already mentioned Judge Dredd in our previous video about Carl Urban's geekiness. Don't forget to check it out later. At first, it should have been Arnold Schwarzenegger instead of Stallone as Judge Dredd, but Arnie hesitated to participate in such a suspicious project, as back then, few people cared about comics. Batman Returns just underperformed at the box office, and the idea of making a movie about a lesser-known character like Judge Dredd seemed stupid. Like, if infamous Batman screwed up, some Judge Dredd would screw up royally. Sylvester Stallone wasn't repulsed, though, but thought that turning dark dystopian cyberpunk into a comedy was a pretty sick idea. The comedy wasn't initially planned by screenwriters or director Danny Cannon, but who cares? Stallone flexed his authority on set, basically dictating to the crew and screenwriters what type of movie they should do. As Sly didn't want to play the clown himself, a sidekick clown was needed. His first choice was Joe Pesci, but Pesci immediately refused, even though he was offered a truck of money. Then Stallone turned to Danny DeVito, who didn't decline but was too busy with other projects. At that point, Sly decided to pick someone less famous for the clown role, like that funny Schneider guy from Demolition Man. Being Stallone's bro, Rob was given a lot of freedom on set. He was allowed to improvise and even poke fun at Dredd, and many of his improvisations made it into the final cut. However, Schneider often remembers the dangerous fire scene, where top-tier talent Stallone had an ultimate level of protection. Rob had almost none, because nobody gave a damn about lesser-known actors. He said that at this point, it was not acting, but surviving. Despite these efforts and a pretty good budget, Judge Dredd became a flop, one of the most miserable ones in 1995. Script, characters, and performance skills of the cast were labeled crap. Sets and costumes actually got a bit praised, but that aspect of the movie could have been annihilated as well if the creators had approved Gianni Versace's initial concepts. Luckily, they hadn't. Stallone was the lead actor of the movie and took the main blow, but for Rob, it was completely different. The project brought him new offers for supporting roles. Rob nailed the choice perfectly and flawlessly picked 2 flops in a row: The Adventures of Pinocchio and Down Periscope. This flop carnival made Rob chill a little bit on TV in the Ally McBeal series, but in 1998, he returned with 3 projects. One of them was The Waterboy with Adam Sandler. Schneider later said that one day Sandler called him and proposed to say just one line, "You can do it!" Rob didn't get it at first, but after the release of the movie, the thing became a recurring gag, and almost everyone screamed, "You can do it!" Noticing Schneider's face, The actor says it still happens today, and that he figured it out at that point, as he named his upcoming book exactly like that. Another film was the action movie Knock Off, where Rob once again got the chance to roast a talented action star. This time it was Jean-Claude Van Damme. Initially, Jet Li was supposed to star in Knock Off, but he left the project for Lethal Weapon 4. After that, Van Damme took over and personally selected Schneider for the role. Knock Off had issues during post-production and was heavily cut, so as a result it was 90 minutes of some chaotic mess on screen. Perhaps this couldn't-careless attitude about the movie was because of Van Damme and all the troubles that surrounded him back then. His career was falling apart. He was trying to get over it by doing some stupid things, and that led to being arrested multiple times by Hong Kong police. The crew had to work as Van Damme's babysitters, abandoning their actual responsibilities. Maybe that's why the whole movie looks like it was shot by someone who was either tripping hard or extremely neurotic. We have a video about Van Damme being an ass during this period of time, so check it out later. That's a good one. In the end, Knock Off earned $10 million at the box office, having a budget of $35. Both Van Damme and Rob Schneider took a hit, but Adam Sendler intervened here and invited his friend to participate in the movie Big Daddy, directed by Dennis Dugan. The director of Beverly Hills Ninja and Problem Child needed someone to play a delivery boy, and Rob, with his talent, was a perfect fit. Later, Rob recalled how he and Sandler sat in a sauna together and came up with gags for this movie. This obviously worked as Big Daddy became a big box office success, and another one was to follow. Around this time, Rob saw American Gigolo with Richard Gere and thought,
I can do it.
What you can do is like and subscribe, by the way. At this point, Rob was a bit tired of how his career, as he later said himself, hit the toilet a few times. So he jumped into screenwriting and later showed the result to Sandler, who laughed his ass off and immediately decided to produce such a movie, making it the first project by his brand new personal production company, Happy Madison. The lead role was at first intended to be Sandler's, but one Razzie for Big Daddy was more than enough, so he kindly handed the role over to Rob. That was his first main role, and it became a breakthrough. Most importantly, the movie was profitable. Deuce Bigalow managed to earn $92 million with a budget of $17. Later, Schneider and Sandler tried to repeat this success with the movie The Animal. Rob again was a screenwriter and had a lead role. He had a record fee of $1 million, but this time something went wrong. First of all, the critics were furious. They claimed the movie would definitely look awesome, but not on the big screen, most likely on a junkyard. Even better with Rob Schneider laying nearby. Critics hated Deuce Bigalow as well, but it was commercially successful. Like, who cares if the profits are good? But The Animal didn't become profitable, making $85 million on a $47 million production budget, all due to cinema and distribution fees. Perhaps the film could break even on home media afterwards, but no reliable data on that. Watch our Terminator franchise video, where we explain how Studio Carolco went bankrupt, and how even the groundbreaking success of Terminator 2 couldn't keep them afloat. For his next movie, Schneider was paid $4 million. This time he portrayed not just an awkward little dude, but an awkward little dude who's really, well, the hot chick. The film made $55 million with a budget of $34. Pretty expensive for a project of its kind, like some Freaky Friday cost $20 million, and with a budget like this, the hot chick would have been a success. 34 is a totally different story. So as you can see, Schneider's gradual shift from supporting roles to leading ones didn't really go as planned. His new movies either underperformed at the box office or just flopped. Around this time, the creators of South Park released an episode where they whip-smartly deconstructed Rob Schneider's formula. Rob later said he loved it and really appreciated Trey Parker and Matt Stone's work. But every comedian knows that an explained joke is no longer a funny joke. Critics still hated Rob, almost as much as Kevin Costner or Sylvester Stallone. But Schneider was tough as Full Metal Nails. He tried to bounce back with 3 projects, the sequel of Deuce Bigalow, The Benchwarmers, and Big Stan. Deuce Bigalow was originally produced by Disney, but both Adam Sendler and Schneider insisted on an R rating, and just hearing about it made Disney sick. The film eventually shifted to Sony, who agreed to the adult rating, but demanded a reduced budget. The movie managed to avoid being a total flop, only because of that, grossing $45 million worldwide with a budget of $22. Benchwarmers also underperformed, but at least Rob received a decent payment, his highest paycheck of $5 million. In Big Stan, Schneider was not only playing a lead role, but also was a director and producer. This one was the least successful of 3, earning only $8 million with a budget of $10. Big Stan landed pretty well with the viewers though, but critics hated it and again claimed the movie and Rob to be half-baked pieces of crap. To support this strong statement, they threw 3 Razzie nominations at Rob for his leading role spree, and he managed to win one of them. In the following years, Rob's nomination for a Razzie became something of an annual tradition. He was even nominated for Worst Actor of the Decade, but lost to Eddie Murphy. At some point, there were too many slaps from the critics, like in Grown Ups, where he got a Razzie nomination for a supporting role. Schneider lost his temper and addressed one of the critics personally. Rob was answering a take, like Rob Schneider was, and I quote, overlooked at Oscar time because apparently nobody had the foresight to invent a category for best running penis joke delivered by a third-rate comic. Responding to that, Rob stated, he did some research and found out that the critic himself didn't have a Pulitzer Prize either, probably because, quote again, they haven't invented a category for best third-rate, unfunny, pompous reporter who's never been acknowledged by his peers. Roger Ebert, a well-known American film critic, immediately intervened. He pointed out that he had a Pulitzer Prize and stated that Rob Schneider and his movies suck for real. But interestingly, when Roger Ebert fell seriously ill, Rob sent him a bouquet of flowers with a note, "From your least favorite movie star, Rob Schneider," thus leading Ebert to claim that Rob participates in bad movies, but he's not a bad person and, undoubtedly, tries to do the best he can. As Rob observed how the movies where he had a lead role underperformed and received more and more bags of dicks from the critics, he probably thought like, okay, screw it. From now on, I will portray everyone I would like to, or more likely anyone my buddy Adam Sendler asks me to portray. And it was time for Rob to become a Hawaiian man who's dressed like a woman, just for the lulz. A Slav who throws out expensive pieces, because Rob was eager to play some Slav even once anyway, as he later said. An Arabic prince, being totally unrecognizable because of the amazing makeup that actually got nominated for the Oscar. An Asian minister who made Adam Sandler and Kevin James barely manage to get through the common scene because of uncontrollable laughs. A Palestinian with the most sacred dream to snatch his beloved goat from Adam Sandler. A Native American who is a thief in a beautiful fairy tale for some unknown reason. These are exactly the types of impersonations that make modern, suddenly sensitive viewers widen their eyes and cough uncontrollably. At first, it was only the critics who reacted like that, but audiences just laughed and didn't take it too seriously. Nowadays, it's a bit more complicated. Pushing roles like this any further is somewhat like wearing a red target on butt right in front of an already pretty pissed-off bull squad. But Rob doesn't care much about it. In 2015, in The Ridiculous Six on Netflix, he played a Mexican wearing sombrero and singing about searching a taco tree. And here's an awesome twist. Ridiculous Six got extremely negative reviews, but the ratings of the show were great. The movie had been viewed more times in 30 days than any other film in Netflix history. It definitely shows that despite modern tendencies, comedies with raw jokes are still in demand. And Schneider as well. South Park solved Rob's character. Like, yeah, he'll portray even the most stereotypical stapler if it brings some laughs. Critics will smack him, but that only leads to more staples around. And people loved Rob for these unusual, sudden, bold roles. It's his nature. Will we see more of it in the near future? Well, Schneider made his own show Real Rob on Netflix, and there are rumors that the third season is on the way. He tours the States with his stand-ups, voices characters in cartoons, writes books, gives interviews, and collects Hawaiian shirts. He is saying out loud that cancel culture is over after getting booed at his comedy set, and hints gently that in the near future, he'll participate in his buddy Sandler's movies again. So it seems like Rob is still a stapler at this point, the one who still gives zero damns about roasting, and openly says that if he has pissed someone off while making others laugh, then, well, then he nailed it. Do you miss Rob's characters and anticipate some new ones? Maybe him as a lamp, or maybe him as a derp, dog's tail, a plunger? Share your options in the comments. See you soon in the next video.